All right, everybody, welcome to Muddy's Gaming Dungeon. I hope we had a great holiday and got lots of sales and deals over the course of Black Friday. So this is the latest big box build that I've created. It is actually Big Box build 13.0. That's the version. So that is the latest version. Once the stream's over, I will put a link in the description where you can download it. But previously I had a build of about 12,000 games with a playlist collection, and now I am looking at about 35,000. So I just wanted to give like a quick overview of what I have here. So we'll start when you open Big Box, you come right to the arcade page here. And in the arcade page, it kind of drills down some of the playlist just for arcade games. So if you look, this would be all arcade games right here. As we go down, we have our 2-player, 4-player, Atari, beat 'em up, different Capcoms, like the CPS2, for example, is a specific arcade machine build. The CPS3 is another specific build. And as we go into these builds, so let's say I want to go into the fighting arcade game playlist. We can just hop in here. I did use a lot of different themes just to try to make it look as appealing as possible for each different build that you, or I'm sorry, for each individual playlist category that you go in. So here we can see the fighting category has the little fighting marquee at the top, which I really like. Let's say we go into Cave, for example. And you can see how the arcade machine is different here. And this is the unified redo theme that you can download and install right on Big Box. Really neat how they are able to kind of give everything its own flavor as you go in, if you will. So I am really excited about this build though, and we will keep going. Now this is a very, very large build. Because I've added a ton of custom playlists, which isn't really hard to do on LaunchBox Big Box. I did have to download some of my own art and create my own logos and such to make that happen. Some minor tweaking just to get this main theme. This is actually the default theme, the old default theme for Big Box. What I really love about this theme is as you're scrolling into the different playlists, it pulls art. So some of the fan art from the games that are included in that playlist. So every time you see a background piece of art here, it's from a game that's inside that playlist, and it's different every time you go into it because it's pulling from random games. So we'll keep going. These are still the arcade subcategories. This is actually just old school pinball arcade games. As we keep going forward here. Some of the things I want to point out is just kind of what I added, like the Sammy Thomas Wave. Awesome arcade machines. And there's some great games in here. You can see a lot of them are SNK. This would be like one of my favorite games right here, Rumblefish, if you're a fighting game fan. Now I do have this on a Alienware Aurora R8 computer. I think it would be considered like mid-tier now. It's got 2080 Ti in it, i9 processor, but even that to run some of the old school arcade games is way overkill. The thing that I like to do though is I like to incorporate some of the modern games. I'll show you that here in a minute. Alright, so see, I've added Sega Naomi and Sega Naomi 2, which is only a few different games, like Virtua Fighters. We can kind of see like Beach Bikers is pretty cool. Ready? Go! Arcade Triforce. If you like the old arcade Mario Kart games, that's what's in here. Title Type X. Now this one is a little tricky to get going. And again, if you guys like these type of videos and like these type of streams, I would be happy to go into detail. If you have any questions, put them in the comments below. But I'd like to go into detail about how I got that Title Type X working in some of the other more quirky arcade and emulation that is in this. So Title Type X, what's interesting about this is like these are all the Japanese versions of arcade games. So again, this Super Street Fighter 4, which is cool, arcade edition. This is the 2012 version, is the Japanese version. So there's some differences when you play this game. Other games like this Battle Fantasia, this is the only place you're going to find it. So you kind of get some neat versions of the games that you like, and plus just a couple other ones that, like this Chaos Breaker, for example, is another fighting game that is in Japan that's really fun. Now I have all these working with an X-Arcade tank stick, and it's hooked up to a TV. So I mean, you don't have to have an arcade cabinet to really enjoy this, but you also can put this in an arcade cabinet, no problem. So again, on my X-Arcade, I have a spinner that I installed, so I like spinner games. Also added trackball games, twin stick, which is fun because there's a mode on the X-Arcade tank stick that allows you to use both sticks or twin stick, like Smash TV, for example, Crazy Climber. Those are some of the examples that are really fun. Now this Mame High Scores is privy to LaunchBox Bigbox, and I really love that they did this, because all these games that are in this category, now you can see right here, if I want to just quick access, I can go to recent, I can go to my favorites and just start playing these games right away, or I can actually go into the whole playlist. And what's neat about these games is that you can actually go in and compete with other people that have big box builds that are online. And so if there's a specific game that maybe you want to do a score challenge for, you can do so. So let's say like Hubert, for example. We can hop in here, and then down here under, let's see, view high scores, you can see there's weekly, there's monthly, yearly, all time. And if you get into the rankings, the high scores, your name will be on the leaderboard for those bragging rights that we all love. Now, as I went through my playlist, I had my own way of how I wanted to organize things, so I'm just going to run through a couple. I'll stop here and there, but I don't want to make this video too long, just kind of for the first overview. So I kind of went to like the old school cartoons here. That's what we're seeing. As you can see, like DuckTales, G.I. Joe, Looney Tunes, Scooby-Doo, Smurfs, South Park, Ninja Turtles, Flintstones, such like that. Now all these have these type of cartoon games in them. And then as we go farther down, I kind of started with more of the retro games and moved towards the modern. And you can see all the different ones I have here. So you can see like Battletoads. And it is pulling games from every different console. That's what I like about the playlist. So it will pull games from arcade. You can see this one's the Sega Genesis version here. This is an arcade version of Battletoads, Game Boy, and so on. It just kind of it's a convenient way to put like every type of, let's say, Battletoads game from every different console ever made into one playlist. We'll keep going down. Bonk's Adventure, if you're a fan of TurboGrafx 16. So again, this is arcade machines, retro consoles, modern consoles. I've even added Japanese consoles in here, as we'll see here in a bit. So let me kind of keep going down. We have our Contra. Duke Nukem. Earthworm Jim. You can see, and my idea was like, again, Hyperspin has been one of the most popular ways to emulate all these different types of games as far as the front end goes. But I've been working with LaunchBox Bigbox for about 3 years now, and the amount of upgrades and the way they've made things easier to emulate games, import games, is just amazing. So I highly recommend LaunchBox Bigbox. Now LaunchBox is the back end. That's the free version. What we're seeing right now is Bigbox. You do have to pay for it. I think the license fee it's a one-time fee, like $75. Well worth it. if you love to have all your collections under one place. Another thing is, maybe you don't even really care about the old school emulation or the old arcade games. Even having Bigbox just to put like all your different launchers together, like Epic Launcher, Rockstar Games, Steam is a big one, right? If you put all these different launchers, it will bring all your games under one place, so you don't have to keep going back and forth to find them. We'll keep scrolling down here. You can kind of see all the different games collections that I have here. Ogre Battle, right? We just had a new release of Tactics Ogre. There it is. And there's the Ogre Battle game. So if you like those, this is a really neat little playlist. We just had to re-release on the Nintendo Switch. Yes, I did add PopCap games. What's nice about the Tank Stick is it has a trackball. And on the trackball, you can use that as a mouse. There's also left and right click on the sides of the Tank Stick. And I'll put a link in the description for the Tank Stick too, because it's well worth it if you're looking at a quick way to use an arcade stick with a TV. My TV's wall mounted. I have a table right here. Everything's kind of set up. So it's really nice if you want to stand up and play games. And to be able to use this for like a mouse and left and right click as well. There's also pinball buttons on the side. All right, let's keep going. Again, there are a lot. I made a lot of playlists for this one. This is like the ultimate build right now. And as I'm going through, again, if you enjoy this content and there's like a specific game that you want to see, please let me know down in the comments below. I'd be happy to play that game for you and show you. If it's a game you haven't played in years or just something you're interested in seeing, let me know and I can stream that for you. See, we have the Bayonetta collection, 1 and 2, because 3 is not out yet for PC. Bloodstained, I love that. Castlevania, I'm a huge Castlevania fan. And there are some of the, you can see, we have different themes for these type of collections. You can see how it's themed specifically for Castlevania. I want to say that's Richter. But see, you can see that everything is brought under one place, which is really awesome. And then you can drill down into the game here, and then there's different options. Like you can view the manual, you can view images full screen. Sometimes you can flip the box, you can favor it. Okay. Old school driving sims. Of course, Final Fantasy collection. If you love RPGs, and one of the things you can see right here under the recent was I was playing some of the Japanese versions of Final Fantasy, which is really nice, and again I'll show you that here shortly. Who doesn't want to revisit the God of War games, right? Yes, we have Halo. Alright, so as I go down, you can see like this Metroidvania collection I put together. I love that because I love Metroidvania games. This was just a collection of games that had to do with pirates, like the old school Pirates games, so you can see them right here. And I do have a lot of the old computers, classic computers like the Commodore 64 and Amiga on here as well. Gotta have a Star Wars collection. Strategy games. Super Mario. Like this is a custom collection I put together, Vampires and Werewolves. I just love the artwork that kicks in. You can see the different themes and such. Let me keep going. Now, at this point, I'm a huge fighting game fan. So I love playing fighting games on the Tank Stick I use Industrial Lorenzo HAP sticks and buttons with Micro Cherry X switches If you're not familiar with that, just really nice arcade buttons and sticks. So it gives you that classic arcade feel when you're playing these games. They're really tough. So you can see these are all the fighting game collections that I have kind of grouped together. Which I cannot wait for Street Fighter 6 to come out, by the way. Then I get into more of the, you can see board games, casinos down here, Monopoly, Scrabble, just kind of all the game show games I put in one area. Now, these collections I'm getting into now are more of the modern games, and this is why I was saying you can import your Steam games and everything like that into Bigbox and hop in and play these games as well. So this is more than just having the retro arcade. This is like your all-in-one console. Sometimes I sit down and play with an Xbox controller. Other times I stand up and play a lot of retro games and fighting games. Also I have Wii games on here as well, so you can get a Dolphin bar with the old Wii remotes. You can play Wii games. One thing that I'm looking at getting in the future would be to send in light guns, so I can play some light gun games the way that I want. Right now I use Wii remotes, but they're not as accurate. Alright. Some PlayStation hits here. Of course, we have to have a Witcher collection. Then I kind of went back to some of the old school retro again. Just to mix things up on the playlist. And here we go with our shmups or shoot 'em ups. Shmups does sound weird, so I usually just say shoot 'em ups. Then I wanted to group all the sports games, and I just decided to use the bars to show what type of sport it is. So you can see we got football, golf, hockey, soccer, tennis, volleyball, pool, bowling, boxing, track and field, winter, wrestling, big buck hunter, fishing. Now from here on, we're going to start getting into the consoles. So I kind of went with old consoles first to the modern. So we can see some of the abstract ones too, like we have the Amstrad GX4000, the Bally Astrocade, the ColecoVision, you know, the Channel F. And then we start getting into the handhelds, Atari Lynx, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, the Nintendo DS and 3DS, which is a lot of fun to play, emulated by the way. Neo Geo Pocket, PSP. I wish there was Vita on here. I probably will be adding that in the future. Now we have the Ataris, 2600, 5278, Jaguar. The Amiga CD32, because technically it was a disc-based console. TurboGrafx, CD. Now we're into Nintendo, the Virtual Boy, Super Nintendo. I have GameCube controllers for the Nintendo Switch that work great on PC, so it's amazing to play GameCube on here. And again, if I hop in here, you'll see the different themes that I have. This theme in particular I really like because it shows the controller floating in front of the screen, and I just really like to see the original controllers. Again, if you get the Nintendo Switch GameCube controllers, they will work on your PC and they will work for GameCube once you set them up in Dolphin accordingly, which isn't too hard. The Wii U, I do have Nintendo Switch games on here. Now we're into our Sega systems, like the Dreamcast, which is one of the most loved consoles. You can see here. Again, this theme's pretty neat, how it shows some of the art in the background and the controller up front. The Neo Geos. We got PlayStation. Pretty much got the whole library here on PlayStation 1, which I want to say is like 1,600 games or such. And you can kind of fast, like if I want to look for a specific game, I can hop in here and just hit X, and then you can see There's XCOM if I was looking for XCOM, and so on. Really neat to be able to do that. We got PlayStation 2, and we got the PlayStation 3. Yes, you can play these games without streaming them. So yes, emulating PlayStation 3 games. A lot of fun. Some pretty awesome games in here. Now we're going down to the old computers. You can see like Commodore 64, the Amiga, Microsoft DOS, Scum VM, for example. The MSX are Microsoft, they're Japanese-based computers. And you can see the Sharp 68,000, which was a Japanese computer that was used to basically develop games. There's some pretty neat games on here. We have the Japanese handhelds. So basically what you're seeing right here are all the Japanese consoles, right? Even like abstract ones like the Nintendo Satellaview. Hope I said that right. Yes, the Nintendo 64 disk drive. And then we have like our Sega Mega Drive and marks. Now I have a top 100 collection, which is pretty awesome. This is a dynamic collection. So the community basically rates what games they feel are like in the top 100. And you do have to manually go into LaunchBox to update those rankings. But once you do, those games will change into this playlist automatically, which is really neat. So you can always see what the community is thinking are the top 100 games. Now, of course, you can change. You can have the top 200. You can have the top 50. I chose to go with around 100. You can see there's 107 in this collection right now. So yes, I do have RPG Maker on here. These are some of the Game Maker categories I like to hop into. I do get into racing sims. I do have a Fanatic steering wheel, and it's not a direct drive. It's a belt drive, but it's a pretty good model. I do have a Fanatic pedals and shifter and everything. So sometime I will do some streaming with some racing sims. The Space Force, I just get into some of the space games like Elite Dangerous. There's Everspace 2, which is still in preview. And you can see some of these games. Now, if you're a Prime member, these are the Amazon Prime games. This is how I import them. I kind of keep all these separate, like Xbox Game Pass for PC. This is in here in its own category, so everything doesn't get kind of mixed up. And then basically Windows would be pretty much everything else. So that's my Steam, my Epic Games, like again, some of the other launchers like Ubisoft, all those are kind of included in this category right here. And I do have a ton of Steam games on here, so it is pretty nice. And I chose to use Steam because you can navigate pretty well to get to whatever game that you're looking for. Now, Fightcade, if you know anything about Fightcade, now I basically put all the modern fighters in here. And I'm looking at adding the Fightcade 2 inside this playlist. There have been some complications with that so far, though, because when Fightcade 2, you kind of need to use keyboard and mouse, and things get stuck when Bigbox automatically hides the mouse the way I have the settings. So, but my plan is to add Fightcade 2 in here to do online retro fighting games. Again, I play pinball on here with the Tank Stick because of the pinball button's really nice. So Pinball FX3. I have imported Future Pinball and Visual Pinball as well. And they are, I want to say, about 90% set up. There's some tables that still are a little glitchy. Pinball FX works flawlessly. Pinball Arcade works flawlessly. Movies. So I made it pretty easy. I have movies installed on my PC. Really cool that you can flip the boxes like this, right? As they're going around. I just think that's so neat to kind of see your movies, and you can just instantly launch one. I am using VLC Media Player to do this. But yeah, if you just get bored of playing games, you want to hop into a movie, there you go. And again, if I click on it, you can kind of see the art in the background, and the trailer plays right there.
What are you thinking about?
Jukebox, basically, I just have Spotify on here. So it's really neat if you want to hop in and do some karaoke, right? If you have the Spotify Premium, you can just hop right in. I do have Rocksmith as well, so I kind of separated that category out. Co-op games, basically this is games, 2 players or more. I just wanted to make a category to make it easy for some of the modern games to hop in and do that. Any game that you favor will end up here in this category. And here we are back at arcade. So again, that was an overview of my latest playlist build with all the different consoles and everything that I have in it. It did take quite some time to just kind of put all this together. It's not too hard though to do the playlist. Like I said, you just if you can't import the art like LaunchBox does, and if they don't have the art or any type of a video or anything like that for a playlist, you have to go through and kind of find your own, create your own logos and stuff like that. But it's usually not that hard, even just using like Paint 3D to create a logo and create a clear background so you can have these logos right here, which you're seeing on the side. All the different emulation, the consoles and stuff like that, that's where things get a little tricky. So again, if you guys are interested and want to see more detailed information on how to emulate some of these consoles, let me know, and I will be happy to make future videos. So, yep, in a nutshell, this is it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video and the stream. And please leave a comment below. Like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps out. And we will catch you next time.